Hey everybody, welcome back to another JBoz Gaming video for World of Tanks Modern Warfare. And we're going to talk today about um, ammunition. So let's get into it. We're going to use the World War II game mode as our guide here. We're going to go into the main garage screen. We're just going to customize a specific tank. In this case, I have the T-29 highlighted, so we're just going to drive into that. In the loadout screen, just use your left joystick to move the cursor down to any one of the ammo slots and just hit the A button to select. That will take you into the ammunition screen. In this screen, it will highlight the first ammo type that you have, which is the generally what I refer to as standard shells. In this case, it's AP ammo. And you can navigate this screen by using your left joystick. Something to note here is you can also, as you select the different ammo types with your left joystick, you'll see information change on the right side of the screen. Kind of keep your eye over here as I kind of scroll through the different ammo types. This is giving you more specific information about that specific ammo that you have highlighted. So let's start breaking it down. So here's the gun type that you have, 105 millimeter gun. The T5E1 is the current gun I have on my T29. It has an ammo capacity of 63 shells, and it shows you kind of how the shells have been spread across, how I've grouped them. This is kind of a neat visualization. In this case, I have the standard or AP T32 shells highlighted here. Each one of these shells costs 1,000 silver, and I can increase that amount that I have for this shell by hitting the left or right on the plus button to either add or take away shells for this particular type. I have 12 shells in reserve, so let's say I want to add an additional shell. It just ends up adding them here to my standard shell type. I can move that back down to 18. Notice that because I was using 63 already, it took away from other ammo types that I had already selected. In this case, it took away from the APCR. So I'll just go back and add those back there so it's redistributed and I'm using all of my ammo capacity across all my ammo types. But also on the right here, you'll notice that it says for the AP T32 shells, it has a penetration and it shows the 100 meter and 500 meter range here. It also shows the armor damage and also the max speed for this particular shell type of 945 meters per second. All of this information is also available to you in the detailed tank customization screen that we talked about in a previous video. But it is nice that they show it here just to remind you of what the abilities are of that particular shell type. Now, most people refer to this as your standard ammo because usually, not always, excuse me, not always, but usually this type of ammo is the least expensive of your ammo, and it also is the type of ammo that that you want to shoot most of the time, especially if you're shooting at tanks that are either at your tier or below, because you can generally pin most tanks at your tier or below. Now, you can shoot any type of ammo you want to shoot, but you'll hear people refer to premium ammo, and that's usually the second type of ammo and the third type of ammo that they kind of group into one. But they are really different. So let's talk about those. The next type of ammo for this particular tank is the APCR ammo, and it right now I have 20 shells selected for it out of the 63, and it cost me 4,800 silver to shoot each one of these shells. So this is where you really start to rack up a lot of cost when you're using shells. Now, what I will draw your attention to though is look at the pin on this particular ammo. It's gone way up from the standard shells. Let's go back. Remember, the standard shells are 198 and 175 at the different distances respectively. When we go to APCR shell type, the pin goes up 245 to 219. The armor damage is 320, and the speed of these shells is 1181. Kind of comparing that to the previous ammo type, the damage didn't go up. The damage is the same, but the shell speed went up. So you notice that there are some advantages to shooting this type of ammo. So that's why I say you can shoot the standard type of ammo at tanks at your tier or below, but for those tanks that are usually higher tier than you, their armor is going to be heavier, thicker, and it's going to require you maybe to shoot some of these types of shells. But in order to shoot these types of shells, it's usually a lot more expensive. And that's what, when people refer to, they're spamming premium shells, that's what they mean. Somebody's coming in, they're completely loading their tank full of these APCRs, and they're spending a lot of money, but they're always, it seems to always be able to pin, seems to always be able to do damage, and it gets better velocity on the shells. So just kind of know that is what people mean when they're saying you spam premium. The reason they kind of refer to it as premium is because as a default, it might set this to use gold, and that's 12 gold per shell. That's right, that can become expensive. And so you want to, in order to change that, you want to make sure that you hit the Y button and you have it highlight the silver. You always want to use silver instead of your gold when you're using ammunition. So you control how much gold you spend, and you don't deplete your gold unknowingly after one battle because you were shooting nothing but APCR shells and it was just draining your gold. So just know that this is the second type of ammo, and it has different statistics, and the reason you'd want to use this type of ammo is to penetrate thicker armor than what your standard shells might be able to penetrate. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes APCR shells maybe do more damage, but they don't pin as high. So you'll have to look at the different shell types that you have on your tank and really recognize in what situations you want to use these shells to fight certain enemies. I'll do a more extensive video on the strategy of switching ammo types in battle, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, when you typically want to run kind of standard ammo versus your more premium ammos, and so on. So I'll do another video kind of immersing ourselves in strategy of using ammo. But for now, I just want you to get to understand what each of these types are and a little bit about the differences of these types. The third type, if you have it, it might be HE, and this particular type of ammo is good for when you can't pin that other tank, but you still want to do some damage to him. So you will use your HE shells and do some damage. And sometimes these are very expensive. Sometimes they're cheap. It depends on the different tanks and the different shell types that you have. But you can adjust how many you carry into battle with you, and just know that that's what this shell type's for. Usually this shell type has a much lower penetration, as you can see on the right hand side here. This only pins 53 and 53. So the thing to note is the penetration doesn't decrease over distance, but it is not good to begin with. But what this is good about doing is doing some damage, because it doesn't have to pin in order to do some damage. The armor damage is 420 if it does pin, but if it doesn't, then it's really much lower, because you're really just kind of, if you know what a Molotov cocktail is, you're kind of throwing some flammable liquid and setting it on fire and kind of doing some damage to the tank in that way, right? But it's not going to be detrimental to the tank unless they have no fire suppression or something like that. But in general, this is good for if you just need to do some damage. Like, for example, let's say you have a tank sitting on your cap circle. He's capturing your base. And you don't care. Your job is not to kill him. Your job is to just reset the cap. The way to do that is to load HE and just hit that tank. If you can land that shell on that tank and you do some damage, it resets the cap circle and therefore gives your team more time to either get there or cap if they're already on their cap circle. So the HE is a good ammo type to use. You just have to understand when to use it. And I'll do another video again about strategy on ammos. But this video is really going in depth about how to navigate the ammo screen and just the differences between the shell types. And there's even more shell types that aren't here. There's what's called HESH or HESH, and that's a whole nother shell type that some tanks have that I'll go through in a later video talking about strategy about when to use different ammo types. So yeah, the other thing to note on this screen is the ability to auto resupply. If this is not on and you use the X button to do that, you can turn it off and you can also turn it back on. If you do not auto resupply, then you're not charged when you come out of battle because you didn't repurchase and re-equip ammo. But if you don't resupply, you got to remember that next time you go into battle, you may not have a full loadout. In fact, you may not have any ammo at all if you used it in the last battle. So auto resupplying, I believe, this is my opinion, is a good thing. It keeps you from going into battle without ammunition. And yes, it has happened where I've went into battle and didn't have the auto resupply turned on, and my tank was out of ammo. So not a good situation to find yourself in. So auto resupply is probably good, but if you're always trying to watch your silver, then you might be smart about what you load or how many shells of each type you pick and you select and load and use, because it's going to reload, it's going to resupply whatever you used. Okay, so if you had selected 63, maybe you were playing with your buddies and you just wanted to spam, if you will, APCR, and you loaded all 63 and you had auto resupply turned on, well, it's going to replace all 63 of those shells if you use them all, and that's going to be quite expensive. Versus if you decide, hey, that was just one battle, I don't want to resupply, I'm going to go in and I'm going to adjust it next time to more standard. I'm going to put them all at standard or whatever. Well, that's a huge difference, and so just know that auto resupply is going to resupply what you said you wanted for each of your shell types in the setup here. Now, to get out of this screen, all you have to do is hit the B button, and when you do, it's going to buy and install the ammo that you've selected. So we do that, it adds the ammo, and it takes us back to the loadout customization screen. So that's it for ammo. More detailed information around different types of ammo. Look for that ammo strategy guide in the future as I help you understand when to use certain types of ammo. But if you have any additional comments about maybe something I missed in regards to the standard ammo, let me know. Love your feedback. Always appreciated. And then also let me know if it was a helpful video by hitting that like and going ahead and hitting that subscribe button. That'll let you be notified about future videos that I put out. All right, guys. Thanks again for your time. Appreciate it. Happy tanking, and see you next time.